If I asked you the question, how are you? I think 90% of you would give me the same answer. I'm busy. It seems like we're always busy. Busy with work, busy with friends, busy with family, busy with chores and tasks. We're constantly in a state of busyness. But what if I told you this constant state of busyness was having a negative impact on the way we lead worship? But more than that, our constant state of busyness was meaning we're missing out on some tools that would help improve our worship. Now, what if I told you it didn't have to be like this? That even if you're busy, you can still utilize these tools to improve our worship, and it doesn't take a huge input of time and energy. Would you be interested to know more? I want to correct one major misconception that most worship leaders have, and prove that even busy people like you can utilize this tool to improve your worship without adding to your already busy schedule. How do I know that most worship leaders have this misconception? Well, I used to be one of them. It all started when I first heard about people using backing tracks in worship. I immediately had two concerns. The first one was that it sounded super complicated. What equipment will I need to do this? Will our church be able to afford that equipment? Would I even know how to set it up properly? And then there was the software. Surely that was going to be expensive as well and really fiddly to operate. But not just for me, especially difficult for volunteers to use. And I didn't want to be the person preparing the backing tracks every single week. And considering our worship team had a value for encouraging growth, I knew a complicated software was going to be a barrier to involving more people in worship leading. And the second big concern I had was that the whole thing sounded like it was going to take a lot of time to prepare every single week. You see, I could tell that if backing tracks were used wisely, they'd have a massive impact on our worship. But I couldn't see how, with my limited capability and the limited resources of our local growing church, how it was going to work. The reality is, many backing track setups and softwares are expensive and complicated and take a lot of time each week to prepare. But then I made a discovery that changed my perspective completely. I made using backing tracks a realistic possibility. All the benefits of using backing tracks could now be obtained without having to use complicated and time-consuming software. And pretty much every member of our worship team could be taught how to use the software with little to no effort. I would no longer be held back and bogged down by technology. But now technology was helping me improve our worship services and was helping me to do it quickly and easily. But how quickly, you might ask? And as I thought about it, I realized I didn't know. So I wondered what the fastest time was to set up backing tracks for a worship set. And in order to do that, I headed to the Guinness Book of Records website, went to the search bar and typed in fastest worship backing track setlist preparation to check what the current record was, only to find, unsurprisingly, there wasn't one. Disappointed but not defeated, I set myself the challenge of preparing a backing track setlist in record-breaking time. But as there was no world record in place, I settled for creating my own ambitious and somewhat ludicrous target of sub 4 minutes. The question was, could I do it? And so in undertaking this challenge, I had to set the conditions. The first one is that the setlist would be pre-decided. There would be 4 songs, and song 1 and 2 would have a full backing track. Song 3 would be drone pads with click, and song 4 would be just click track. Next, we'd look at the size of the band that would be playing along with the backing track. It would be a relatively full band, but without an electric guitar player. So it would have a lead vocal, harmony backing vocalist, bass player, keys player, acoustic guitar player, and drummer, but no electric guitarist. So, with my preparation in place, hope in my heart, and enough energy drink in my system to send a small cat into cardiac arrest, I started the timer and went for it. Okay, 4 minutes is the time to beat. World's fastest backing track setup ever. I've got to do better than 4 minutes. I'll do it in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Right, so I've got to start by getting the song Be Glad by Cody Cans. I've already downloaded Prime onto my computer, so I'm just adding these songs in. And then next it's House of the Lord. I've already done my set list, so I know what's coming next. I want House of the Lord and Be Glad to have full backing tracks. So I want to bring energy into the room authentically and also covering some missing instruments. So that's going in there. Then Christ Magnified is a drone pad because we want a bit more space and freedom to move around without playing with the tracks at all. So I'm going to use this one called Iceland Pads in the right tempo. That's great, it's going in there. And lastly, I'm going to do a custom click track. So we don't want any noise in the background at all. We just want to have the freedom to do whatever we want without having to worry about any sound coming through. 72 BPM and 6/8 timing, that's important. Turn the accent off so our teams don't have to worry about when the accent falls. Right, instrumentation. I know what band I have, what instruments I need. Don't need acoustic, don't need alto, don't need bass, don't need choir, don't need drums. What are the keys doing here? Let's have a listen. Yeah, I'll save my piano player from playing that so they can focus on just playing the simple things in the piano. That's great. Turn off tenor, turn off soprano. So now the backing track sounds like this. Yeah, I want to make that a bit more prominent, but turn the electrics down. 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're in the wrong key. So I'm going to go down to A. I'm going to turn the tempo up to 100. So now this is what it sounds like. Yeah, much better. I can sing that. That's great. Awesome. Turn the click down a little bit compared to the cue so they can hear that. Fantastic. Right, now the arrangement. Go on to arrangement. Edit arrangement. And we are going to take out this interlude because it's too long. We're going to make a shorter one. So we're going to go in there and replicate the earlier interlude. And so now it's half the length, and that's going to be much better. Right, on to the next track, House of the Lord. We're going to put that into A, not going to touch the tempo. Take out backing vocals, choir, drums, take out the piano, and let's have a listen to see how that sounds. 3, 4. Oh, no. No. Don't like the claps or the vocalizations. They feel a bit odd in a smaller setting, so take that out. We can do that. Intro, 2, and what about 3, the rest? 4. Yeah. Go on with that a little bit. That sounds good. All right, now the arrangement. I think the intro and outro are too long in this song for our application. So we're going to take out the outro section and the intro section, leave just one time for the interlude. We're going to double up this chorus because we want guys to get used to the lyrics because it's one of the early times we're playing this. Right, and I think that now feels good. How does that sound at the end? 2, 3, 4. Yeah, nice. Don't have an electric guitar player? Now we have one in there. That's great. Going on to the pads. We want that in D. So that's in A. Do a live change to D. That's cool. Make it at 60. Just bring the level down a little bit to match with the backing track volume. And that all looks good. Right, now going back, last thing to do is the transitions. So we've still got good time, overlapping between 1 and 2 and overlapping between 2 and 3. Let's have a listen to that. We're looking for a smooth transition, big energy first song to big energy second song. 4. All right, finishing with the drums. Intro, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's going to work nicely. Nice. Don't need to change it for that. Second song going in. Let's have a listen to this one here. 3, 4. Oh no, there's like a big empty, dead, silent gap. Let's see if we can close that up. Right, let's bring the ending a bit earlier, bring the fade there, and then for the next song, start it so that the fade isn't so pronounced. Let's try that now. End, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's much better. And we're done. Great, we've done it. We've actually smashed it. Yeah! So there it is, an entire backing track set list in under 4 minutes. I think I might now be a Guinness World Record holder, but I'm not entirely sure. I hope I've proved that running backing tracks doesn't have to be complicated or time consuming. And in fact, that you and your team have learned some principles, tips, and tricks on how to run backing tracks in your local growing church. But I want to make it even easier for you and your team. If you click on the link in the description below, you can download a free step-by-step guide on how to run backing tracks in your local growing church. It's going to save you hours in training and preparation so that the entire of your worship team can get using backing tracks quickly and easily. The good news is you and your team now know how to run backing tracks in your local growing church. The bad news is that unless you get this next fundamental principle right, your team's going to struggle to build momentum. You want to click on this next video here where I explain this important principle and how you can use it to grow your local worship team.